This is the help video for Access Chapter 2, Pause and Practice 2, and we're going to pick up on step number 7. So we're just going to do 7, 8, just those two steps. So this is all about record validation. So the last one was about field validation. This is record validation. And so the check against the data is not done until you try and leave the record and write the record to the table. Record validation usually checks against a field against something else, right? In this case, we're going to say that daily rental has to be less than weekly, and weekly has to be less than monthly. So we need to get to design view. And down here in field properties, notice this term, field. Down here where it says validation rule is about the field. To get to record validation, you must go to the property sheet. So there's a couple places that you can get to property sheet, but the easiest is on the Design tab, Property Sheet. It's going to open up your property sheet, and here's one of the things that you want to pay attention to is what is that property about? So we're talking about the overall table, and that's cool. That's what we want. And look, we have a validation rule and a validation text here, just like we did when we were down here in field properties. But down here it's about a field, up here it's about a record. So you want to watch which area you need to go to put the rule in the text. And so this says record validation. So I know I need to go to the property sheet. So we're going to pick this validation rule. And on this one, we're going to use an expression builder. It just does a little bit of work for you. You don't have to worry so much about typing things precisely. So to get to that, you're going to use these ellipses, right? So I clicked in the validation rule. I'm going to click on the ellipse, and it's going to bring up the expression builder. So now you can see, based on this table, these are the fields that we have. So I can just click on things here to put up here instead of having to type it, right? So if we look at the rule, weekly rental rate has to be greater than the daily, which makes sense, right? Like I said before, $100 a day, you wouldn't want a week for $100. Otherwise, everybody would just rent something for a week. There's no difference. So we're going to say weekly rental. So all I did was double click, and look, it puts it in the square brackets, which is what Access understands that that's a field name now, is greater than. So weekly rental rate is greater than daily rental rate. So if this is 100, this has to be more than 100. And then we have a second condition, right? So we're going to say, and the monthly rental rate must be greater than the weekly rental, which makes sense, right? You're going to rent something for a month. It's certainly going to cost more than if you just rent it for a week. And by using this expression builder, I didn't have to worry about typing these exactly. I didn't have to worry about putting them in square brackets. The system did that for me. Super helpful. So let me review. Weekly rental rate greater than sign, right? So the open end is on the left. Daily rental, and, which means both sides of this have to be true, monthly rental rate is greater than weekly rental rate. I'm going to say okay. It's going to put that in there nice. So then all I need to do is put what the text is going to be. So if I look over here, I'm going to put this in. And I'm going to do something here. I'm going to right click and zoom. And this lets me just kind of scroll through. So the weekly rate must be greater than the daily rate, and monthly rate must be greater than the weekly rate, period. Okay, and that just lets me not have to scroll through here. So to get that on this box, I right-clicked and just picked zoom. All right, so let's save this. So I'm going to click the save button. Data integrity has changed. Do we want to check it? No, we're okay. So we're going to close this up, and I'm going to switch over to datasheet view so I can test it. So for this very first one, I want to put, so I'm going to come here to category, and this is just a little trick. So I'm going to hit tab. See how the whole number is selected? I'm going to type 160, tab, 160, tab, 160. See, let me put 160, but we know 160 is not greater than 160, and 160 is not greater than, so when I go around, tab, tab, look, it tries to leave this record and save it, and it says, can't do that. Weekly rate has to be greater. Oh, okay. So pencil's still there. Nothing has been written. So let's come back here. I'm going to start back here at category. And let's do tab, tab. I'm going to do 640 and 640. Okay, so this is greater than this. But look, this is not greater. So let's go around. Same message, right? Because both conditions, it's an and, both conditions have to be met. So let's change this 640 to 1920. So now in my mind, this is greater than this is greater than that. Yes, let's see if it worked. And it did. So once again, we're trying to protect that data to make it successful. All right, so that's the end of that movie. We'll pick up with step number 9, and probably the next movie we'll just finish, maybe 1 or 2 more movies. We'll see how it goes. All right, thank you.